No, really, all our seats. Come on. I need to, everybody mute your phone like I'm doing right now. Boom, muted. Okay, thank you very much. Well, welcome everybody to the Tuesday, March 11th, 2025 regular meeting of the Placerville City Council. If you would all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. The phone, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was a solid Pledge of Allegiance right there. All righty. Did we all mute our phones finally? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Carter?
Here.
Mayor Clarici?
Here.
Vice Mayor Gottberg?
Here.
Councilmember No?
Here.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Here.
We are all here. Okay. Item number 3, ceremonial matters. There aren't any. Closed session report.
Thank you, Mayor Clarici. The council did meet in closed session regarding labor negotiations with Local 39. There was no public comment. The council approved by unanimous vote a tentative agreement with Local 39. That agreement will come back at a future council meeting for formal approval.
All right. Thank you very much. Do we take public? We don't take public comment on closed. No. Okay. Fine. All right. We have an agenda that needs adopting.
I'll move we adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right. Number 6, announcements, presentations to the public. Brief comments by the city council. Do we have any brief comments?
I have none.
Do you have one?
I do.
Okay.
First, I wanted to thank everybody for showing up for the cleanup, the trail cleanup. We had almost 30 volunteers that showed up, including members of the council, city staff, and the public, so thank you for that. The second thing is, per our conversation at the last meeting, I did reach out to our supervisor, Brian Veerkamp, and the chair of the BOS, George Turnbull, regarding our 250th birthday party for the U.S. next year. So I will keep the council appraised of any developments, shall they occur.
Thank you for that. Over here. Oh, I'm sorry. To my right.
I attended the cleanup day. That was a great day. A lot of people, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I attended Empty Bowls.
Okay.
I also attended the cleanup day of the trail, and I ran the Spirit of Benny 5K here in Placerville that fundraises for New Morning Youth and Family Services.
Great. I went to the trail cleanup, but I didn't do anything because I'm injured. I would like to thank Dennis and everybody that put that together for us. It was quite an effort, and it's the beginning of a lot of stuff that's going to go on our trail, and maybe other parts of the city, but certainly on our trail, a very valuable asset to this community. So thank everybody. I have nothing else to say. All right, recognition, first one, 6.2. Recognition of former planning commissioner Michael Friend. You are here, great. I have Michael Friend has been a planning commissioner forever. I believe when Snowshoes Thompson came over the hill, Michael was there telling him where he could put his skis and, stuff. It was great. All kidding aside, Michael Friend's just been an incredible asset to this community, serving on the Planning Commission for decades. Professional, thoughtful, always the city first in his mind and in his heart when doing his job. I have a certificate of appreciation here. Which I will read. I normally don't read these things, but this one I'm gonna, because this is important. Certificate of appreciation to Michael Friend in recognition of your dedicated service on the Planning Commission from February 20, 2001 to February 18th, 2025, serving as chair of the commission in 2004 through 2007. Nobody wanted to do it, but really, okay. 2012, 2018, 2023. Your technical background and experience have been of great benefit to the residents of Placerville. We extend our heartfelt appreciation and gratitude for your strong commitment to understand complex planning issues in order to make educated and informed decisions to enhance the quality of life for all residents of the city. Your dedication has made a lasting impact, helping to create a stronger and better Placerville for all. Our community is truly fortunate to have individuals like you whose commitment inspires positive change. Dated this day with my signature underneath all of that. So anyway, congratulations, Michael. Do you, do you wish to say anything? All right. You have 3 minutes. No, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. It was brought to my attention yesterday that it might be the reason for the council doing this ceremonial matter and here in public is so everyone knows for sure that I have retired as a planning commissioner after a quarter century. So it has been a distinct honor. I'd like to thank this council and the many councils before you for having reappointed me, because folks may not know that when your term is over, you have to reapply. And for whatever reason, folks saw that I had something to offer, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time on the commission. I remain most excited about what work is being done presently with the historic component for the city. And I think if anything, and spurred on by Commissioner Carter, well, Councilmember Carter now, but Commissioner then, that the commission needed to do something, I'll take credit for taking action on that and starting to do something. So I just want to say thank you again. I have a question. Does the city have an official pin, like a lapel pin?
Yes, we do. Would you like one?
I'd like to get one at some point.
You know, normally.
I want a watch. I
Wait a
have
second. Does
little
any?
pin.
All right, Dave.
No, I don't want to take anybody's pin. No.
Regina, of course she
Pick up my
has
last
one.
check. I can get one.
Of course she has one.
Oh,
Yeah. There you see. There you go.
thank you. And then this lady here, for those of you who were at Pierre Rivas's retirement, how incredibly clever. Never knew. So again, thank you very much.
That is not an easy job. So, and we have 2 other planning commissioners up here. Does anybody want to make any comments about Mr.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Michael. I think it was over 15 years ago when I first went to a planning commission meeting, and like John said, you've been there forever, and you were there. And, you know, I was all nervous to get up and talk, and you really heard me, and you addressed my issues, and I just want to thank you for that service, because you've always made it a great place for the citizens. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You served? Okay, never mind. You don't have to say anything. I just like, okay, great. All right. Thank you very much, Michael, once again. I would have come to your last meeting, but I was literally out of town. So I'm sorry about that, because those things are important. Anyway, okay. Back to the agenda. Item 6.3. Woman of the Year presentation from District 4 Senator Marie Alvarado Gill.
Thank you so much. I realize this is the first time I've been able to speak in front of this governing board, so what an honor to be able to be here and present this award. Thank you, Mayor Clarici and council members, for having me here today. The Woman of the Year recognition is an annual recognition that our office is very humbled to be able to do. As a Senate District 4 representative, I represent governing boards from 13 counties, 21 cities, 16 tribal nations, and dozens of school boards and local districts. So for me, the lifeblood of our district is our local elected officials, because you know every day what is happening in your community. And so for me, this is an honor to be able to acknowledge men and women at the local level that you have recognized as people of merit to be recognized in this fashion. So this is the first time that I've done a City of Placerville Woman of the Year, and I feel a great honor and deep admiration to be standing before you today to recognize one extraordinary woman that was nominated, Miss Ruth Carter. And she has now been recognized at the state of California as the City of Placerville Woman of the Year. I'm going to talk a little bit about Ruth. Yes, you want to do an applause before? So Ruth is more than just a leader. She is a beacon of service, integrity, and compassion. For over 18 years, Ruth has successfully been a small business owner, has guided and mentored others in the real estate industry, one that has been consistently destabilized by our insurance market and by different policies at the state level. So it has not been an easy task. As a board member of the El Dorado County Association of Realtors and a dedicated member of the internship committee, she has helped shape the future of her profession, guiding and mentoring aspiring realtors with the wisdom and generosity that she shares. Beyond her professional success, Ruth's heart for community service is unparalleled. When the Caldor fire devastated our region, she was there volunteering tirelessly, ensuring that evacuees had the supplies and support that they needed. Her commitment to helping others doesn't stop in times of crisis. It has been a lifelong mission for Ruth. Having experienced poverty firsthand, Ruth has spent her life advocating for the homeless and the hungry. She never forgets where she came from, and she always strives to uplift those in need. Her life is guided by the Golden Rule and a deep belief in paying it forward. Ruth lives with purpose, humility, and a steadfast commitment to making Placerville a place of both preservation and prosperity for generations to come. And if you don't believe me, just ask Councilmember Carter there. Her dedication is contagious, her leadership is inspiring, and she compassionately serves to give to all in her community, any shape or form that we're able to accept it. Ruth Carter is not just the Woman of the Year, she is a woman of impact, of service, and of unwavering commitment to her community. So Ruth, I'm going to ask you to come forward as I present this to you. So this is a California State Senate resolution. Ruth Carter as the Woman of the Year for City of Placerville. You're now in the history annals of California. And this is a commendation resolution. There's a lot of whereas, so I'm going to let you keep that for yourself. But it is my honor to present Senate Member Resolution 162 to Ruth Carter for Woman of the Year for the City of Placerville.
I'm very ill-prepared for this. This was a surprise, to say the least. I didn't know this was going to be a thing, and it is nice, I think, to highlight volunteers. This city is built on volunteers and volunteerism. I look around this room and I know every single person in here volunteers for something. So we all give our time, talent, and treasure in different ways in this community to make it great. And I just hope that through our volunteerism that we inspire others to continue that legacy and improve upon our community. And I appreciate everybody's attention to improving and hopefully in uplifting our new nonprofit that'll help rebuild our parks, Friends of Historic Kingtown. So maybe if something really good comes from that, it'll boost that a little bit. But I really appreciate everybody here for all of their volunteerism too. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, very good. Okay. Does anybody want to say anything more? You've probably said everything.
She knows.
Okay. I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's like we always say, and you mentioned it, this town doesn't get anywhere without the folks that pitch in on their own time and of their own efforts to get things done in Placerville. So just one more. Thank you very much. All right. Before we acknowledge the workers' compensation trending, if y'all, you're all welcome to stay for the rest of this meeting. Michael's the first one up. He's like, I'm out of here.
Mayor Clarici, we haven't taken public comment on item 6.
Okay, I'm sorry. If you want to make public comment, well, hold on, everybody. Hold on. Listen up. Listen up. Listen up. Listen up. We're supposed to take public comment. If you want to make public comment now and say nice things about Ruth, I'm sorry. I should have let people do this. This is terrible. And they're all gone. Oh, come on. You say something nice. There you go.
Shout out to my mom. She's the nicest lady I know.
Aw, that was nice.
Love you, buddy.
Okay. Any other kids want to say nice things? Because there's pressure on. Okay. Shout out to mom. You can't get any better. That is beautiful. I love that. All right. Now we're done with that. You all may go. All right. All right. We'll get to item 6.4, the riveting acknowledgement and filing of the workers' compensation trending. And actually, this is important. I mean, we should not just buzz past this. Trending and stewardship report as of December 31, 2024. Mr. Warren.
Good evening, Mayor Clarici, members of the council. So tonight we have Stacy Bean, Assistant Claims Manager from LWP, to present the presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I know it is very important, but it is also kind of boring sometimes. But in the life of work comp, it's kind of exciting for us, trying to get employees back to work and back to their normal self. So tonight, I am presenting the stewardship report for City of Placerville, and this is data from July 1st of 2020 through December 31st of 24. I pressed it twice. Okay. So to get started, we've got here our first chart. It's showing a total paid and incurred by fiscal year. So you've got the blue area, that's your total paid, and then the green bars, those are your total incurred. And what the difference is, your total incurred is going to account any outstanding reserves. So when we look at the green bars, that's what we're expecting to pay at the end of the day. So when we look at work comp claims, we evaluate how much we think we're going to be paying on this claim for the life until it's closed. And then the line there, it's a red line, you see it's trending downwards. That's going to show how many claims you're reporting each year. So that's what we want to see, and it's good to see it trending downwards. But also your incurred cost. You could barely see it. Your incurred costs are currently $17,000 for the year. But as time goes on and the claims are opened, that number could increase. And then the second chart here, we have the claim type by fiscal year. And we categorize work comp claims differently. So indemnity claims, those are your blue bars. Those are the claims that have disability benefits such as lost time and permanent disability. We also have medical-only claims, so they just need medical treatment to get better. They don't have any lost time or disability paid. And then your first aid claims. Currently, we don't have any first aid claims. Usually it's incident or if they need medical treatment. beyond first aid. So again, you're trending downwards as far as total of claims. A little delay there. Here we have total paid by fiscal year, and this is regardless of the date of injury. So this is how much we're paying each fiscal year for the claims that are open during that period. So it's broken down by type of payment. You've got medical payments, again, your indemnity payments, the lost time, permanent disability. And we are seeing a trend go down. I think last year we've got a lot of settlements that took place, and that's why that bar is a little bit higher last year when we took over the claims for the city and CCSIF. This is what we want to see. Closing ratio trending upwards. So that means for the claims that are being reported, we're closing more claims that are coming in. And how we do that, there's some claims on the books that are future medical claims. They're open for the life expectancy of the injured worker, and we're able to close some of those. So we want to see that line go up. We're currently at 150%. And that's high because you've got such a low inventory of claims. But our goal is 100% or more. And then the second chart just shows the total ending open inventory. So you'll see last year we ended with 22 open claims. And this December 31st, we had a total of 20 open claims. So you'll see it went down just 2 claims. And then also the breakdown by type of claim is listed there. So then we've provided some charts here for top 5 causes, body parts injured, nature, as well as occupation on the next page. And this is typical. We see a lot of the highest number 1 type of injury is going to be your employee struck by something. And you see that a couple times on this graph here. And we've provided a frequency as well as severity. The second chart here to note, you'll see a kind of a pyramid in the center. That spike there, that's going to be your cost for those internal organs. Those are actually cancer claims, and so those are what's causing an increased spike in the severity there, even though there's one claim listed under that. And then again, you'll see it here. This is the nature of injury, so your strains, your tears, other specific injuries not elsewhere classified, so it might have multiple body parts. Again, you've got cancer right there, and that's your spike. And that's because those cost a lot. And then again, down below, you'll see occupation of injury. Some of the occupations aren't surprising. We see that with other cities as well, as your police officer is usually number 1 occupation with injuries. Okay, and then this one is the top 5 departments. There's only 3 listed here because there's only 3 with injuries, but we've got the police department, public works, parks. That's another trend that we typically see among cities. And then we've also provided the severity, how much for those claims, as well as the average cost. So here we've just got a listing of all the top 20 claims. We can narrow it down if you'd like as well in the future. You'll see a couple of claims on there. We've got 2 claims, kidney cancer that's incurred. What we expect to pay is about $450,000, and then another cancer claim. Right now, it's about $109,000 expected. So those are your 2 cost driver claims on here. And then just a frequency and severity for the city of Placerville here, a total of 36 claims altogether. That's not for this period of time, or this is for the period of time. For every type of claim, how much the severity that incurred for all of those, as well as the average. And then the last page, we have all the cities that are currently in the NCCSIF pool that City of Placerville is also in. Just so you could see the difference there by city. Anything else?
I was going to say, to put that in perspective, you can measure risks by payroll size. And the city of Placerville has similar payroll size to the city of Anderson, Auburn, Oroville, Red Bluff, and Paradise. And we're slightly higher. Usually we're lower, so we're going through a little bit of a rough patch, but normally we perform pretty well in that regard.
Oh, all right. Good.
That's it.
Are there any questions on this item about this? Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment on this item? All righty. Well, thank you very much for that wonderful report. All righty. All right. Let's see here. Announcements and presentations. Okay. It is time for the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion by roll call vote unless any member of the council wishes to remove an item for discussion. The reading of the full text of all resolutions will be waived unless a council member requests otherwise. Does anybody wish to take anything off of this, or do they have any questions about our consent calendar? Nope? Okay, great.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
To quickly note a correction that needs to be made to the minute, 7.1A.
Okay.
Under the adoption of agenda, it should state Vice Mayor Gottberg. I think it states Vice Mayor No, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, so we have no public comment on the consent calendar. Oh, did I ask for public? No. Do we have any public comment on our consent calendar? Oh.
Sue Rodman, resident of Placerville and member of the Measure H, Measure L committee, and I'm very happy to be reappointed for another 4 years. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your service, Sue. All right. Anyone else? Okay. So now we've had public comment on our consent calendar. Would anybody like to move that?
I'll move the consent calendar.
I will second.
We have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember Doe?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gottberg?
Aye.
Mayor Clarici?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see, we have item number 8, the public comment on non-agenda items. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. State law prohibits the council from acting on items not listed on the agenda except by special action of the city council under specified circumstances. The mayor reserves the right to limit the speaker's time to 3 minutes, which I will. And as I like to say, please follow the golden rule. Don't say anything at that podium that you wouldn't want to have someone say about you at that same podium. So we will open it up for public comment.
David Zielinski, Chair, Placerville Fire Safe Council. April 26th, we're having our Placerville Wildfire Safety event from 10 to 2 at the Midtown Mall, 681 Main Street. I also want to remind all of you that you, as residents of the city of Placerville, you live in a fire-wise community. So if you're south of Highway 50, you're in Placerville South. If you're north of Highway 50 and west of Highway 49, you're in Placerville Northwest. And if you're north of 50 and east of 49, you're in Placerville Northeast. And if you're stuck with a fare plan, the insurance commissioner requires that you get 5% off of your premium. And there may be other benefits. Since I'm standing here, I'm also going to take a minute, real fast, veteran thing. Upper Room helped me rescue a gal who's now in a safe place out of domestic violence, and a number of people are working to maybe get her son. He's going to be out of county with her, but maybe her son can continue to El Dorado, maybe stay at New Morning. And it took a village to put that together. But Thursday, she hits the street. Today, she landed in safety. And it took a number of people to get her there. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for that good news.
Mayor Clarici, distinguished members of the City Council, my name is Kirk Smith, and I was here late at the last session because I had a doctor's appointment, so I missed the chance to hear a large number of merchants from the Placerville Drive area come in, and heard later on that my name was mentioned by one in a favorable way, actually, and actually critical of the city. But then that seemed to prompt you to comment in a very disparaging way. So I thought I'd come in since it seemed very remarkable, since the admonishment to members of the public is not to say things that are slanderous and to follow that golden rule. So I guess since you're going to use the word defamation, there's a couple things to learn about that word. One is that you do not have to say a person directly. You have to name them directly. It can be by innuendo and inference, as was clearly the case there. Secondly, there's certain kinds of classification of descriptions of words, like when you describe somebody as engaging in illegal, unlawful conduct, conduct that is violating city ordinances, things that might get them in problem professionally, like disbarred, whatever, is called defamation per se, where you don't have to prove damages. That element is confirmed. And the third thing is, it's a lie. Sorry, it's bogus. It's not true. George Hicks, who had Spankies for a very long time, 30 years, wondered in recent years why we seem to be picked on in a disparaging way. He had signs up that were using banners, yet right across the street on El Dorado Savings and Loan, there was one for like 20 years, exactly across the street, 15 to 40 feet long. And I've got photographs, like more than 100 photographs and lots of affidavits, so it's simply not true that any rules were violated. Also, you started to, at one point, talked about laws can be applied in discriminatory ways, and then caught yourself, which is good, because you're in a position, you've been around long enough to know how that can be the case. These merchants that came here are a very tiny number of merchants that have had these problems in the city, and they need to be addressed without blaming one person or a group of people for the way the city has administered them, because they're not being done in a fair way. Just to give you an example, standing here many years ago, it was Steve Calfee, who was at the time retired, known as the Fixer, a contract employee who defamed Wilbur Howe for operating a parking lot that had long been described as great by the then city manager because it was unpaved, said it was illegal. And yet, what happened? This is a guy who had the temerity to finance Measure K, the project that the city loved, the Clay Street project, and then went on to oppose the sales tax increase. And so what do you know? Then you go after him. Well, I know your time's up. I know your time's up. So just next time you go by, notice that the Chamber of Commerce parking lot is exactly the same way. And the way you fix that lot now causes a lot of water runoff and flooding. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Kirk.
Good evening, Mayor Clarici and members of the council. Placerville has a community-driven general plan and sign ordinance that have served and still serve the city well. At your last council meeting that Kirk was referring to, there was an organized effort to complain about the ordinance. Perhaps they have signs that don't follow the ordinance and don't want to change them, or need to come in and apply for a master sign plan and don't want to do that either. Placerville Drive is going to get a facelift. With the bridge replacement and other improvements, it seems like it would be a time to consider what other improvements can be made to enhance and beautify the area. One idea would be to add special banners like the ones in downtown on Placerville Drive. Broadway had a design day. It seems to me that Placerville Drive needs to have one too. They've had it in the past for transportation. I'd like to read to you from our sign ordinance. To promote and maintain healthy commercial areas and property values for effective communication as to the nature of goods and services available and the avoidance of wasteful and unsightly competition in signs. to encourage signs that are well-designed and pleasing in appearance, and to provide latitude for variety, design, spacing, and location, and to provide a reasonable, comprehensive system for the control of signs consistent with the goals and policies of the city general plan, to attract and direct persons to various activities and enterprises in order to provide for the maximum public convenience, to enhance the economic value of the entire community through the regulation of size, location, design, and illumination of signs. Placerville didn't always have a code enforcer, and it was hard to enforce things because people had other jobs. I think it's important that Placerville does now have a code enforcer. And last, number 6, to preserve and enhance the historic and scenic character of the city and the state-designated scenic highway corridors. I have said this many times, that I think education is what businesses need in order to follow the sign ordinance. When a new business comes in or a business is receiving their business license information in the mail, a copy of the sign ordinance could go there. I think the city needs to make sure that every business does have a permit, it does have a business license. And I think it's important to give a copy of the sign ordinance to all of the companies that make signs so that they can follow them too. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Good evening, council members. This is Marion Washburn, Placerville resident. And I'm here to remind you of something you probably need no reminding of, is that it's March and you need a reminder that fire season is nearly upon us. It's approaching, and I assume we'll have a vigorous one with all the plant life flourishing out there. But the reason why I raised the issue is I live in the Clay Street area neighborhood, which encompasses Benson and Clay and Lincoln and Coleman, as well as some new streets. And when those new streets were first approved, and as I look at you, I realize you're all too young to remember. I'm here as your grandma figure to remind you of the past. Those new meaning the Clay Street housing development, both the apartments, the senior apartments, and all the houses on Clay Street, as well as the new buildings on Constellation. All of those houses and apartments were built with the understanding that there would be 2 viable methods of egress in case of emergency. And the new street, Clay Street, would be the most viable. But it was also agreed by wording in the safety element of the general plan and in the documents of approval and funding that followed that, that the Clay Street Bridge would be widened to accommodate 2 rows of traffic, safety vehicles, as well as cars that would be exiting. And it's been, and this is the part where my age comes into play. It was 35 years ago, actually 36, I believe, that the first documents of approval were drawn up and funding was attempted to be procured. And as we all know, nothing has happened, but lots and lots and lots of building has occurred. So when that emergency evacuation does occur, we really need our secondary egress, which would be that improved bridge. So I'm hoping you as council members and as people with influence and ability in transportation issues will earnestly work on this project to bring safety to that part of town. Thank you.
Thank you, Marion. Is there anyone else? Oh, okay.
Sue Rodman, Placerville resident, and I'm here to say thank you to Nick and Dennis for the work that they are doing to bring the fire vegetation under control in the city, and for the goats and the masticator and the Growlersburg crews. And the work that they are doing along the trail and in other places in the city and parks is making a difference. And when, not if, but when we get a fire, it will make a huge difference to have that work done. So I just want to say thank you.
Indeed, thank you. All right, is there anyone else that wishes to comment? All right, we'll close the public comment. Are there any written communications?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Going to 9, we did not pull any items from the consent calendar. There are no ordinances to consider, but there is a public hearing. So I'm going to open this public hearing. It's 11.1, consideration of an appeal filed by Ryan Nutting of a fine, the 6th administrative fine apparently, levied on 50 Main Street for failure to respond to notice to correct. Mr. Cahill, or Mr. Morris, actually, I think for this particular case.
Yes, appropriately open the public hearing, and we have had a request from the applicant, and we have agreed on a staff level to recommend that we continue this item to your March 25th meeting due to some issues with the applicant, so.
Great. Do we have to take action to actually do that? Okay, great.
Yes,
So
please.
did I officially open the hearing, or should I say, the hearing is now open?
Good.
Okay, the hearing is now open. The hearing is now closed. Does anybody want to comment publicly on this? Thank you for that. Okay, great. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue this item to March 25th.
Second.
All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember No?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gottberg?
Aye.
Mayor Clarici?
Aye. All right, thank you. We have discussion items and action items, and we've had a request, and I've sort of asked the people up here if this would be okay, to swap items 12.1 and 12.2. I heard no objections, so we will swap them, and we will take item 12.2 first. So consider a letter of support opposing, which is an interesting use of phrase of words, support opposing an increase in the state's cannabis excise tax. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm going to be very brief, and then I'm going to turn this over to Annie Aubrey from Chuck's Wellness to talk more about this. I want to mention that on the back table, and you have been provided with a new letter due to an error on my part in that this increase that is being proposed in the cannabis excise tax is already in place. It will take effect July 1st. However, there is a bill, which we are mentioned in this letter, AB 564, which would stop that increase from going into effect on July 1st. So the letter you have that is provided tonight to you would go to Assemblymember Matt Haney, who is sponsoring the bill, and recommend that that increase in the excise tax not go forward. So with that, I would like to invite Annie to come up and speak to this, and we'll go from there.
Hi there, Annie Aubrey. I'm the director of Chuck's Wellness Center. I appreciate your time and hearing me out on possibly supporting a letter that would go to Assemblymember Haney and the governor and other people potentially. The trends that I'm seeing in California are pretty dire in the cannabis industry. 2/3 of the market are still soliciting the illicit market. We would have hoped to see the trends go upward and seeing that we have licensed cannabis businesses for them, but the taxes are very, very high. Often customers say that they'll supplement their supply with the illicit market as well as coming into the store. The CDTFA put out numbers just today that Q4 was down 13% from Q3, and we're seeing spend going down dramatically with what people have to spend in their pockets, and 60% of the licensed businesses have closed that have been licensed since 2020. So I'm hopeful that we won't see a tax increase because I don't think that this will go well. The money that has not, they were expecting more money when they transferred the tax being collected by the manufacturers and just, and putting it onto retail. And when that happened and they didn't have the same amount of funds, the tax increase was going to be automatic in July. But unfortunately, people are spending less, and that will then become the consequence of us. But really, it's not something that we can bring up because I don't think the economy is supporting the pocketbook of our consumers and our communities. So this letter does list a lot of that, and I'm asking for support in allowing me to also bring this to lobby days next week with staffers and show that our city is supporting this bill, AB 564. And if you have any questions, you can let me know.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Aubrey? Are there any questions or comments in general? Okay. Does anybody from the public wish to comment on this?
Mr. Rodman again. This is a great letter. Did you write it, Mayor Clarici?
No, God, no. If it's a great letter, someone else wrote it. Probably a lawyer, I would guess, but not me.
It is a great letter, and it does lay out the problems. And I think that the last thing we need is to raise taxes. I mean, taxes are already high enough. They don't need to go up anymore. And it's not going to help anybody. Because I think that the letter is correct, that it will just drive people around into the illicit market where things are not as well produced, shall we say, into places where you've got illegal compounds being used on the plants, and all kinds of problems coming in from going to illicit growers. So I would hope that this rings a bell there in the state legislature and they realize that that's the last thing we need to do. So, good letter.
Whoever wrote it, it's a good letter. Annie, yeah, of course she did. She's a smart lady. Would anyone else wish to comment on this particular item? Okay, we'll bring it back up here. I was actually, in one of my previous consulting lives, I actually worked on at the state level with some of the public meetings and the outreach amongst the stakeholders and stuff on this very subject before it became the law, before it was made into it had passed the state, but they were doing all the regulations. And I knew right from the beginning the state of California had real serious overambitions about how much they thought they could milk out of this particular issue. And it kind of come home to roost. That's why when I was around my first go around on the island here, I was a big advocate of not overdoing it because you could see it happening, and it's happening. You have a slight downturn in the economy, people's spending preferences do what they do, and then people go find the cheap stuff. And so I'm all in favor of this, but that's just me. Does anyone else have anything to say?
I'll move item 12.2.
Oh, okay. Did you have something to say?
I'll second it just in the interest of having a little discussion, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, all right. Go ahead.
I was shocked at the 28.25% tax rate. I had no idea. It's outrageous.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great thing. I hope this bill finds some traction.
Yeah, there's a golden goose out there, and they're trying real hard to strangle it. So, okay. So we have a motion. I'm sorry. I asked for public comment. Yes. Sue, the public. Man. All right. Okay. Anyway, so we're good here. So we have a motion, a second, to send the letter.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Please, roll call, please.
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember No?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gottberg?
Aye.
Mayor Clarici?
Aye. Good luck. Good luck, Ms. Aubrey. Okay. All righty. So now we're going to go to 12.1 in our crazy mixed-up universe here at the City Council. 12.1, receive and file report on trail maintenance and security. Mr. Morris.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, and I put my name on here to do the report, but I want to thank our Community Service Director, Dennis Nishihara, and our Police Chief, Joe Wren, for their assistance on this. As you recall, at the City Council meeting on January 14th, there was a request for staff to return with a report regarding trail maintenance and security. So since that time, we've been working on some things. I had just a few discussions with both Dennis and Joe regarding this, Chief Wren regarding this. And we came up with some things that we think can help move this forward. And some of this is already in place, and others we will continue to move towards. So I'd like to review first on the maintenance end. One of the big things that we are proposing, and I want to emphasize this is not for adoption tonight. This is simply to start getting the word out here to the public and to our trail users, friends of the trail, et cetera, that this is a program that we would like to see happen that we think can benefit our trail, and that's the Adopt a Trail program. So you have attached to this report a draft, and again, I emphasize it's only a draft, and we welcome comments, and we'll do some more outreach. This has not gone to Recreation and Parks yet, and we do plan on taking that to them, but we wanted to include it just to show example of something that we think that can help with trail maintenance going forward. So you have a list of, if we were to adopt that program, some of the things that they would do, and it's, I guess what you could compare it to is similar if you see the Adopt a Highway program, but where a business association, an individual actually, I guess, or a group that wanted to do that could adopt an area on the trail, and we will define those as we go forward. And then there's certain responsibilities that they would take up to maintain and help keep that trail free of litter, weeds, et cetera, and also to observe any problems. Also, I like this idea that it increases presence on the trail for the security part of this that we talked about. I'll talk about a little bit later. Some of the other things that are currently going on, if you've been up on the trail lately, you'll see that Growlersburg has been out there and done some tremendous work already on the trail to clear the brush and limbs back off the edge of the trail. And I was up there when Councilmember Carter got the work party going a week ago, and was surprised I hadn't been up there for a while, and to see some of the things that they had done. And there's a lot more to do, and Mr. Nishihara is actively using Growlersburg primarily, but other resources that we may have to keep that going. So we will continue to do that, and I think that hopefully over the next year, as soon as we can get some of these programs going, that we'll see a considerable improvement on our trail. One point to notice on the Adopt a Trail program is that our Cannabis Community Benefit Committee has that on their, I'll call it on their radar, to fund the trailer and equipment for that. The idea is that we would have a trailer and equipment all set to go. Our staff would bring it out the day of the cleanup that a group wants to work on the trail. They'll have someone in charge from that group that can access the trailer, get the equipment, and supervise what is going on there. Plus, they'll be able to leave any trash or any debris that they find that they need to leave there. And then our staff will come back and pick that up at the end. So it's not approved yet. I'm looking back at Annie Aubrey, who's on that committee, but we assume that's the direction we're going. Once we have all the numbers together, that we will approve that trailer to be purchased to be used for the Adopt a Trail program. So that's a big part of it. I think it's approximately $27,000 that we're looking at for total all in with equipment, supplies, the trailer, et cetera, to be put up there. The second part of this we wanted to talk about was on the security, and you have the full report in this staff report that we provided. One of the important things we wanted to note is that the police department recently has been, when they can, going up there and specifically the command staff, I would say, to talk to people and get their opinions on the trail. And I'll say, Joe, you could jump in here, but 99% of what they're hearing is that the people do feel good and feel safe about being on the trail. And so that is a good thing, but there's always that, they're not there all the time. So there is always that person. And I do believe, because I have heard things, that there is a perception that maybe it's not, there's some areas that people maybe not feel comfortable or safe on the trail. And we want to change that. We want to change that perception. One of the things that our police department has committed to is to be on the trail at least 3 days a week, make trips up there 3 days a week. Now, if they have calls for service that they're on, that they may not be doing, and it's not going to be at a certain time. We don't want them at a certain time. We want that to rotate that so that they see, because there's different things that happen at different times of the day. So we want them to do that, to be there periodically as often as they can. And I believe Joe told me that 3 days a week is a minimum. They hope to, when they can, they will do more than that. I believe they have the equipment, such as the new UTVs that they have, and so they have bikes and other things, and that they can be on the trail. And so we want to make a change. And there's other things that you've looked at. If you look in the report, we want to look at a signage program to help people understand not to leave the trail in certain areas and things like that. So we're going to work on that as part of the Adopt a Trail program. That we can implement to just increase the security and make people feel comfortable and know that they're safe when they're there. I'm going to turn it over to Chief Wren if you have any comments in addition you want to make, and then Dennis also if there's anything you want to add to this.
They were up there yesterday. They actually came in before I came over to the meeting and gave me a brief on what they've discovered. Some of the challenges that exist along the trail, I will say from Mosquito heading out, are that a lot of the problem areas that we see are either private property or state-owned property. So we're weaving in and out of dealing with, private property owners and dealing with the state, which if anybody's ever dealt with the state, it's challenging at times. But our staff knows to keep on them and to hold them accountable. They actually made some arrests when they were up there yesterday. So hopefully through that enforcement activity, word starts to get out that the trail is a no-fly zone for criminal activity. So that's kind of what we want. They will have high visibility patrols, which will consist of UTVs, bicycles, and cars when we can swing it.
Dennis?
I think the only other thing I'd add is in regards to what you were saying about this being kind of just a framework and the launching point in regards to like our grassroots efforts, we definitely need the help of our partners and the community. And so what we're hoping to do is just kind of put this out for Rec Commission, talk to some of our partners, and we did move kind of fast on it. And so we want to make sure that we want to be as diligent as possible. Did we include everything? Absolutely not. There's a lot more little nuances that we need to talk about. So we're open for ideas as well in regards to individuals, and they may not be a part of a group per se, but then they want to join a different group. So this is going to be something that's kind of fluid and definitely open for feedback and partnership throughout the community.
Well, thank you very much for that. Are there any comments, questions before we go to the public?
I sent Mr. Nishihara a list of things that he could add to the trailer and stuff that scotch broom pullers, weed pullers, graffiti removal, those sorts of things. But I just want to acknowledge Ginny McCormick with Friends of Auto Trail is out in the audience if she wanted to come up and give some input, because I know I got some feedback that it looked like it was a done deal. It's not a done deal. This is just staff bringing and saying, hey, this is what we think we should do, and they're going to take it back to Park and Rec and want everyone involved in everyone's comments.
Yes, we want to hammer that home. Not done. All right, are there any comments, questions? Okay, open this up to public comment.
McCormick. I'm the president of Friends of the El Dorado Trail. I applaud this attempt at this. I think it's a good start. I've got some issues. So just in looking at the different items like the litter removal, basic maintenance, that kind of thing. So with litter removal, obviously you're saying that you'll have a trailer there to pick up any litter that's right now, like if I pick up trash on the trail, I just leave my trash in one of the trash cans, but that's not always a good thing because it's sometimes full. So, so if there's a work day on the trail, how much notice will the city need? I mean, we need to know that kind of thing, like how much notice will the city need before providing those kinds of resources. And then for reporting issues, will there be guidelines for how to report those issues? Like right now, if there's an issue, I just call somebody I think might be able to make it happen, right? But it'd be nice if there were guidelines for who should receive the first report, who should get the second one, or whatever. For safety training, you're saying you're going to have safety training, that's great. Again, knowing who, when, what, where, that kind of thing for safety training would be great. I don't know what DCS orientation is, so I was like,
Neither did my staff, so don't.
Okay.
No.
So maybe some definition of that would be nice. One of the things that it said in the thing was that volunteer groups might do larger scale trail repair. I'm not sure that's such a good idea because of the engineering issues that might be involved in a larger scale repair. I mean, we can look at that, but, and then one of the things said that volunteers should be sharpening tools. Again, there probably should be some training for people on how to sharpen a tool. If you don't know how to, like a lot of people don't know how to sharpen a tool. And then on the $500 fee, is that per year or is that a single fee of $500? Just because for a volunteer group, we have budgets and we have to budget money if we're going to do $500 a year. Since weather will affect cleanup days, if we've scheduled the trailer to be delivered and weather doesn't permit cleanup that day, how will we be rescheduling, that kind of thing? Sort of
Yeah, we're not limiting you to, because you're on.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just was saying sort of the administrative issues of how those things get done, I think need to be fleshed out more. But I mean, I think it's a great start, and I'm happy to give more comment. And I'd like to thank the police for trying to do 3 days a week on the trail, because, you know, the safer we can make it, the more people will use it, and the more community support we'll have for it. So, anyway, that's, and there is a natural trail sort of alongside the trail. Will that be included in, have we discussed the natural trail portion? I think we need to think about that too, because a lot of people use the natural trail. So. Comment? Okay.
Just noting.
Okay. Okay. I think that's about all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Very thorough. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment on this item?
Hello, Kathy Lishman. My husband and I walk on the trail in town because he needs knee surgery and it's flat. And we always feel safe on it. And I appreciate the fact that the police department is monitoring that. I remember in the past when they had gotten bicycles to do that, and it was really important. Now you have multiple ways of doing it. And walking on the trail, the bench out down the road from here had graffiti on it. And I happened to run into Jackie No one day, and she got the paintbrush out and painted the bench, and I really appreciated that. The condition of the asphalt in some spots is not very good. And like she was saying, that's something that would be hard for volunteers to do. There's a lot of leaves on the trail a lot of the time, and I guess my question is, until this program goes into effect, how is the city going to continue to maintain the trail and make it safe? And I don't even know how the city cleans the trail now. When I was in Spain once, we saw this little motorized vehicle coming by that swept the trail we were on, and so I don't know if the city has one of those or if the weight of it could, oh, good. And volunteers probably can't run that. It would be a lot of fun, but, and then I would suggest that a committee form to meet with Dennis that would include like Jenny and of people that can really give good input before it goes to the Rec and Park Commission. Instead of hashing it out there, have people that are involved and know about it give input. And I do want to mention too that in another life, Jenny was also a planning commissioner for the city of Placerville.
Thank you, Kathy. Anyone else?
Sue Rodman, you might want to talk to the Forest Service. They've had adopt-a-trail programs for years and years and years and years, and they've been very successful with them, so.
Thank you, Sue.
Annie Aubrey, again, I'm going to wear two hats. First, I'll talk about the Cannabis Community Benefits Committee. It's a mouthful. That we are proposing, it's one of our top items, is to fund this trailer because one of our big focuses is finding things for people to do outside to enjoy in our community. So the parks and adult activities and things like that. So the trail is really precious to us. And then I'm going to put my business hat on from Chuck's, and on Schnell School Road, I have met employees there before work to go on walks. We do coaching meetings where we'll go and talk to each other or take breaks. So if there's something going on, I can go for a walk, and that can really help in the workplace. And then we walk our dogs. I also offer volunteer hours where we pay our employees, and my employees were there on our trail cleanup with you this last time. And so we are also wanting to be one of the sponsors. And I know that that would entail me most likely not volunteering my employees, but paying their wages so that they can go out there and help clean up. And I also do walking therapy with my therapist on the trails. So we are highly interested in seeing this go forward and supporting it. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Well, that was a lot. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we'll bring it back up here. Are there any comments, questions, additional things? I would like to say that I was once again in a previous life. I was actually around and helped get the original piece of trail funded when I worked for the Transportation Commission. And the natural trail was supposed to be for horses. So there was supposed to be like a path there next to the, every once in a while you see a hoof print in there, but not very often. So just a little piece of history for you all to contemplate on the El Dorado Trail. That's it for me in history. Anything else? Okay. We don't take action. Do we take it?
Just receive and file.
Go forth and make more.
If there was any other direction you wanted to give us,
I
then
don't
we'll
know.
continue down this path.
Talk to those people and then talk to the Park and Rec folks. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dennis. All right. Boom, done. All right, item 12.3. Consider requesting Consider requesting $115,245. It might as well be $2 million, but consider requesting $115,245 in financial support from El Dorado County for the 2025-2026 fiscal year to offset maintenance costs associated with delivering a comprehensive aquatic center program for county residents outside the city of Placerville. Mr. Nishihara.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. As you know, we do this annually over the last few years based on our service that we provide through the Aquatic Center. Unique this year, very, very similar to us, the county's facing some significant financial burdens in regards to some of their discontinuing of their discretionary funds. I was able to attend their meeting today, and it does seem like they're identifying funds that they provide other agencies or other partners and trying to limit or if not discontinue some of that funding. Now, I will say this on record, I do realize that they have a very, very tough road ahead. And I said that very poignantly. I'm not trying to compete for fire reduction money. I'm not trying to compete for public safety. But what I am trying to really share is that not only is our aquatic center a staple in our city, it's a staple within our county. We provide 76% of the people that attend and utilize our service are outside the city limits. And so we do have some numbers, and just real briefly, and I don't want to get too granular with it, but if you take a look at last year's numbers, around the 4,000, approximately 4,400 individuals that utilized our service, 3,390 of them were outside of the city limits. So my real ploy or my discussion points tonight is when you take a look at this, would we love to ask for $150,000? Absolutely. I mean, we want to be able to offset the subsidy that we provide up to $300,000 realistically. So I will also add that there are other budget dates that the county has identified in regards to some of their more discussions. On April 8th, they will return back after some of their ad hoc. So I encourage not only the public, but our residents and city council members to participate and follow along. And then they have a special budget meeting on April 22nd as well. I want us to not only be advocates for our city, but be advocates for the service that we provide in regards to the life-saving techniques that we provide young people and families, knowing that we live around lakes, ponds, and rivers. These are essential services that we provide to families. Not only is it fun, but it is very, very important life skills. With that said, you have my report, and I'm available for questions if you have any.
Are there any comments or questions? Actually, are there any questions for staff on this item? Are there any comments? We'll open this up for public comment.
What we're asking for from the county is not that much. Oh, by the way, Sue Rodman again. We're not asking that much from them. And we do provide a service that they do not have. And it would be only fair for them to contribute. This is not a huge amount of money for them to come up with. And it does provide swimming lessons for children and teaches them how to save their own lives. And then it provides life-saving education for people to be the lifeguards as well. And that isn't available, that I know of, anywhere else in the county. My own daughter took her swimming lessons there, and it saved her life because she had an invitation to a birthday party from somebody, and they said, we're going to go out into the little swimming pool that they had there at the place where they lived. And I said, do not put my child in the water until I'm there. Well, they ignored that. And they put these children in the water with balloons. Not life jackets, balloons. Well, of course, the balloon escapes. And her experience there was, sure enough, the balloon went off somewhere else, but because she had been taught how to float and move gradually to the side, she saved her own life because nobody was paying attention to these children. They just handed them a balloon and stuck them in the water, and there was about 12 kids. And no one being lifeguard. So needless to say, I was furious, but I'm also eternally grateful to our aquatic center for the education that they give and that they gave her. And so the county needs to do their part. They absolutely should.
Thank you, Sue.
They haven't ever, but they need to.
Kathy Lishman again. I watched that meeting at the Board of Supervisors today because I went to speak on behalf of senior services from my house. I watched it on Zoom, and it was painful. And they were complaining about the small amount that was listed under the city pool, let alone this amount. And the thing that I was thinking, there's three pools really. There's one at South Lake Tahoe, there's one in Cameron Park, and there's one in El Dorado Hills. The city of Placerville pool serves 4 of the 5 districts. Pollock Pines is in District 5. District 4, District 3, District 2, people from 4 of those districts come to the city pool because it's more convenient for them than going to Cameron Park or El Dorado Hills. So, and I know they want us to raise the fee for out-of-city people who come to the pool, but you can only raise it so much, and that was tried once before also. And people stopped coming, so I don't know what the answer is. I think we're going to need to raise a lot of money.
Thank you, Kathy. Seeing no one else, I'll bring it back here.
I'll move 12.3.
Thank you.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember No?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gottberg?
Aye.
Mayor Clarici?
Aye. Thank you. All right. Consider authorizing the city manager or designee to negotiate and execute a contract with Proud Construction in the amount of $64,487 for the downtown restroom renovation, project, and approving a $4,550 budget appropriation from the general fund contingency for unseen expenditures for the said project. Mr. Nishihara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City Council, before you tonight is a request to approve an adjustment to the CIP 42418 in regards to the downtown restroom. I do want to highlight a couple of things that you definitely have in the staff report. Specifically, the type of material we're going to transition to from porcelain to stainless steel to help us with mitigating some of the graffiti, and more specifically, the type of wall material we'll use in regards to being able to wash certain things down. I know this has been a long time coming. I'm available for questions if you have them. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions for staff? Would anybody from the public wish to comment on fixing our bathrooms?
Sue Rodman, if you're going to have a downtown and you expect tourists to come, you have to have a decent restroom, and we do not have a decent restroom right now. So I'm glad to see this come up, and I hope that this makes some progress toward that.
Thank you, Sue. Oh, come on down, Kathy.
I only want to come to say tonight is Dennis's night. He's had 3 important items on the agenda that are things that have needed to be done for a long time, and thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so we have public comment. I mean, now it's closed, and it's back up here.
I'll move item 12.4.
I'll second.
Any comments or questions or anything else? Okay, great. Thank you.
I'm just sad. I have to say, I'm sad that we have to put prison toilets and prison sinks into our bathroom, but it is literally penal wear. Anyway, it's a sad reality that we have to do this. But yeah. Anyway.
It's sad we have to go and clean garbage out of our trail. I mean, it's like there's a lot of sad things out there, and this just happens to be one of them. Okay, thank you. Very appropriate comment. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can I call you can call the roll.
Councilmember Carter?
Aye.
Councilmember No?
Aye.
Councilmember Yarbrough?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gottberg?
Aye.
Mayor Clarici?
Aye. Thank you. All righty. Council reports from other agency meetings. El Dorado County Transit.
Yeah, we just met, and just a few of the things that we went over. We have added some money to the unaccrued pension liability fund, which was nice. We received and filed both the preliminary operating budget for the year of 25-26 and the preliminary capital improvement budget for the year 25-26. And we also approved the purchase of 6 transit vans to replace the old transit vans for Transit Authority. And we adopted a resolution approving the workplace violence prevention plan.
Great. That's a lot of things. All right. Transportation Commission.
And I think they announced March 18th is National Transit Day. If you didn't know, I didn't know. Transportation Commission, we approved chapters 1 through 5 of the 25 to 45 Regional Transportation Plan. That's our significant, but we also went over the project monitoring plan where we talked about all the great projects that are going on in the city, like the Cumbellic Road sidewalks, Broadway sidewalks and maintenance project, which I believe is done.
Yes.
Main Street, Cedar Ravine, Clay Street, intersection improvements, Placerville Drive, bicycle and pedestrian, Canal Street, bicycle and pedestrian improvement projects, Trip to Green, Western Placerville interchange, all sorts of good stuff.
Yes. The public should take a time to look at that document. It's very comprehensive. It actually talks an awful lot about where the money comes from, how it flows, all the planning processes, and then it has this long list of projects that both the county and the city are doing, and then also has Caltrans projects in there as well at the very end. I love the map with the dots. It's great, and numbers, so it's very good. Okay, hold on, let's see here. LAFCO.
We did not meet.
SACOG meets next week. Pioneer Community Energy Board.
Yeah, we had a big meeting. So we started the first legal step towards expansion coming in October of 2027. Pioneer is expanding into 5 new counties, 7 new cities, and 1 town. It'll make it the largest CCA in California, in the state geographically speaking. Do you guys care what counties and cities are joining?
Sure.
So Butte County, Glenn, Nevada, Sutter, and Tuolumne. The cities are Chico, Live Oak, Orland, Oroville, Sonora, Willows, and Yuba City. And then the town of Paradise is joining Pioneer coming in October 2027. So that's obviously a huge shift, almost doubling the consumer base of Pioneer, going from 170,000 to about 390,000 people in the service area. We also did an expansion to our Grid Gen program, which Pioneer came to present here to us last year. So they're expanding it to include existing solar customers. The current program is only for new solar customers. So people that were on the first generation of solar plans are now expiring their contracts. And so we're looking to enable those people to add batteries to their systems to make them more compliant with California law and the way things work now with our grid. So that's started in October 2024, and so that's now expanding to include. Oh, it's also going to be available to renters. So I'm not sure how it's going to work yet, but renters of a home can be included in this program also instead of just the homeowners. So some big changes coming.
Great. Are they going to? I'm a NEM 2. Does that apply to NEM 2?
NEM 1 is expiring. I think NEM 2 is also coming close to expiring. And yes, you will be able to participate. As soon as your NEM is expired, you'll be able to participate.
I'm slapping batteries on my house because I never want to deal with PG&E ever again. They're god awful.
Yep.
I'm supposed to be nicer to people, apparently. It's hard with that outfit. Okay. Placerville Fire Safe Council.
We talked about our Wildfire Safety Day on April 26th at the Midtown Mall on Main Street here, and everybody should attend 10 to 2 p.m.
It's a great time. It is a great time. Lots of fun. All right. And then Opportunity Knocks.
We did meet. Nothing of note for the city of Placerville occurred.
Okay. Oh, okay, great.
Nothing that affected
We should be.
happened.
No, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say a snarky comment, but I'm not going to do it because the meeting's almost over. Okay. Thank you very much. Request for future agenda items. Does anybody have one? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any public? There is.
Kathy Lishman, Kathy Lishman, sorry I had to come up and say, one of the comments that was made at the Board of Supervisors meeting today was the fact that they have put all this money into our homeless problem and haven't charged us for it. So I think that's something to think about. That is, the reason it's our problem is because they don't want it. So anyway, that's something to think about.
That was, Thank you for the comment, former Mayor Lishman. Yeah, okay. Item 14, requests for future agenda items. Do we have any? Okay, I
have one I wanted to bring up to request if I can.
Oh, yeah, by all means.
I'm not, this is supposed to be for you to request, but this just came up after we had posted the agenda. Melinda Velasco requested that a letter of support for a grant application that they want to do to the T-Mobile grant, which I think we're familiar with, for what they're calling Art on Center. So what most of us used to know as ZPI, what became a kind of a Native American art gallery, if you will. Due to some changes, it closed, and they're trying to get it opened back up again. And part of that application requires 5 letters of support from different groups, agencies. So I've prepared a letter, but I wanted to ask if you're okay with that coming back to you on your next agenda. Any concerns with anybody? So
I see a lot of nodding heads.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Ken Frederick, that guy? Yeah. He came and made a presentation to us some time ago about the Dignity Pledge, and I got an email from him and also Paul Zabatini, who have a group, Building Bridges or some such thing as that, and they wanted to know if we had considered including some of the dignity language, Dignity Pledge. There's a pledge, Dignity Pledge language, I believe as part of our public comment message, the open mic part of the agenda. I told them that I had not heard anything back from anybody, but that I would bring it up. Because, why not? So I am bringing it up. Do we want to consider this? I don't know if any of you actually look. He provided us all with information. I don't know if you looked at it or not. If you did, that's great. They also have a website, and you might want to go look at that. But I'm putting it out there. Do we want to contemplate taking this up as a council and potentially taking a pledge? I'm getting a lot of static here. Okay. But it's been put to you, and you can always bring it back up again. So I just told them that I would do this for us. So if you look at it again and say, yeah, I think this is something, please do. And is there, I guess since I brought this up, should we take public comment on my comments, or do we have to?
Technically, public comment is allowed on every agenda.
Okay, fine. Then, does anybody want to comment on our 2 potential agenda items, future agenda items?
Kathy Lishman, I would say, I think it's important at the beginning where you list public comment, what it is and what it's about and what people, I think it's more important if you could change it, not to take the pledge necessarily, but to change it in a more positive way about what you'd like people to do, not what you don't want people to do. So that's something to think about. Maybe not the pledge, but maybe change the wording to make it more positive.
I like that idea. I like thinking about that idea. Okay. Anything else? Thank you very much. Okay. Once again, we can chew on this, and if you have an idea or you're moved to some sort of thing, please let me know. Okay, city manager and staff reports. Nothing? 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 Okay, great. Are there any comments on our non-existent reports? Great. All right, you just get into a roll. The upcoming items, you can read them. We will be adjourning to our next meeting on March 25th, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. Thank you all very much for coming. Have a great evening.